You've seen the debate raging online, I'm sure. AI and art. It's become a total battleground. Is it this incredible new tool for artists, or is it a cheap imposter, threatening the very soul of creativity? Well, today, we're not here to pick a side. Our goal is to really understand what this tech is changing about how we think about skill, knowledge, and creativity itself. So let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on under the hood. This image just captures the whole feeling perfectly, doesn't it? That tension, the anger, the fear. This is what the debate feels like right now. You have people crying foul, literally saying art is dead. And you know what? That reaction makes sense. I mean, when a machine can do something in 3 seconds that takes you 3 days, your first instinct is to defend your craft. But what if the real question isn't about the machine, but what the machine is showing us about ourselves? Before we get into the nuts and bolts of AI, it's so important to get one thing straight. This panic, it's not new at all. In fact, if you look back through history, almost every major new artistic technology has been met with this exact same kind of fear. Check this out. Back in 1859, the famous poet Charles Baudelaire had this almost visceral, angry reaction to the invention of photography. He saw it as a total threat, believing that just because it could reproduce reality perfectly, it couldn't be art. His fears sound so similar to what we're hearing about AI today. So what's different this time? Is anything different? To figure that out, we need to talk about knowledge.
Okay, this next idea, this is the absolute key to unlocking this entire topic. We've got to understand that there are basically 2 different kinds of knowledge in the world. So on one side, you have what's called explicit knowledge. This is anything you can write down, turn into a code, and just hand over to someone else. Think a recipe, a math formula, a user manual. But then on the other side, you have tacit knowledge. This is the stuff that lives in your body, in your experience, in that gut feeling. It's a skill you feel. And for centuries, that second type of knowledge was impossible to transfer. And to really see how powerful this difference is, let me tell you one of the most amazing stories in the history of secrets. It's the story of how a 1,000-year-old secret was finally cracked.
Think of it like a real-life game of Clue. The secret? How to make that beautiful, hard-pasted porcelain that imperial China guarded for 1,000 years. Our detective in this story is a Jesuit missionary, a guy named Père d'Entrecals. He went and lived among the artisans, and with just a quill and some ink, he did the impossible. He wrote down the recipe. He figured out the 2 key ingredients, kaolin and pedincy, and mailed the secret back to France. And just like that, the magic was gone. Europe could suddenly make porcelain. And that story just brilliantly shows the power and maybe the danger of explicit knowledge. The second you can write something down as a recipe, it doesn't really belong to you anymore. It can be copied, it can be shared, it can be sent across the world instantly. But let's talk about that second category. What if I gave you the world's most detailed book on how to juggle? I mean, it explains all the physics, the exact trajectories, the weight of the balls, the whole explicit recipe. Now, what happens when I hand you 3 balls? You drop them, right? Of course, because knowing how something works is not the same as knowing how to do it. That is tacit knowledge. And this right here, this is where everything changes. For thousands of years, artists were safe. You could steal their painting, sure, but you couldn't steal the skill in their hands. That was tacit. But what's so revolutionary about generative AI is that it found a way to hack it. By crunching billions of data points, it has successfully translated that tacit visual know-how into explicit mathematical code. It has turned skill into a recipe. So now that we have that framework in our heads, it's time to pop the hood and look inside the so-called black box of AI. Let's bust some of the biggest myths about how this technology actually works. Okay, first up, probably the most common myth out there, that AI is just doing a super high-tech copy and paste job. Stitching together little bits and pieces of other artists' work. Yeah, that's not what's happening. Not even close. AI doesn't make a collage. It's more like it sculpts an image out of pure chaos. Imagine a TV screen that's just static. That's kind of where it starts. The AI then slowly removes that static, guided by your prompt, until an image appears. It's like seeing a rabbit in the clouds. It's not copying. It's more like a controlled mathematical hallucination. Okay, so if it's hallucinating an image, does that mean it actually understands what it's creating? Ah, the infamous 6-fingered hand. This tells us everything we need to know. See, when Leonardo da Vinci drew a hand, he understood anatomy, the bones, the muscles, the tendons underneath. When an AI draws a hand, it has zero concept of a skeleton. It only knows that statistically, next to a pixel that looks like part of a finger, there's a high probability of another pixel that also looks like part of a finger. It's like a visual parrot, mimicking the surface without understanding any of the structure. All right, so it's a statistical engine. But does that mean it's predictable? If you give it the same input, will you always get the same output, like 2 plus 2 on a calculator?
The answer is a definite no, not at all. Take a look at these 3 tigers. They were all generated from the exact same simple prompt, draw a tiger. And yet, they're completely different. That's because every single time you generate an image, it starts from a different random pattern of static, a unique seed. This makes the whole process probabilistic, not deterministic. It's exploring possibilities, not calculating one right answer.
So, if the machine is just this probabilistic engine that doesn't really understand anything, what does that mean for the human artist? Well, it means their role isn't going away. It's just changing. It's shifting from the hand to the mind. Look, the idea that creating with AI is just one click is a total myth. This right here shows a real-world professional workflow, and it is far from simple. It starts with artistic intention, brainstorming, writing a detailed brief. Then comes generating dozens, maybe hundreds of images, and then curating, choosing less than 1% of them. After that, it's back to good old-fashioned craft, Photoshop, retouching, fixing perspectives, and finally, color-checking everything for printing. This is not a magic button. It's a new kind of artistic direction.
And this is the crucial point, right here. AI has made the technical part easier for everyone, so the value is shifting. It's moving away from the how, the raw skill of holding a paintbrush, and it's moving towards the why. It's about the vision, the choices, the intention, and the meaning you want to create.
This focus on meaning isn't even new. There's this classic film experiment called the Kuleshov effect, and it shows exactly how this works. A director showed an audience the same exact shot of an actor with a totally neutral expression. But when he showed it next to a picture of a bowl of soup, the audience said he looked hungry. When he showed it next to a coffin, they said he looked sad. The actor's face never changed. We, the audience, projected the meaning onto it. And that brings us right back to where we started. We asked if AI was a tool or an imposter. But after looking at all this, I think the answer might be something else entirely. The AI is an incredible tool. Sure, you can think of it as an infinite paintbrush, one that can create endless possibilities. But that paintbrush doesn't move by itself. It's waiting for a hand to pick it up. And more importantly, it's waiting for a mind to guide it with purpose. So in the end, maybe AI isn't just a tool or an imposter. Maybe it's a mirror. It reflects the massive visual culture it was trained on, yes, but more than that, it reflects the intention we bring to it. An empty prompt will give you an empty image. So the final question isn't about what the AI can do. It's about what you want it to reflect.